What's up, boys and girls? Welcome to another match on KhaldorTV. We have Beat Our Bakers, not the original Beat Our Bakers, but like the newly reformed Beat Our Bakers going up against Kinguin today. Like the old school Heroes of the Storm fans amongst you still know about Beat Our Bakers. It was a team that we had in the past where Bakery, for example, was playing before he joined SK Gaming. And right now we're having them play, well, with a bit of a different setup, but it's going to be a fun match either way. A lot of good players here facing each other, and also a lot of heroes that we haven't seen too much in the recent past. Abathur and Zebo are being played a bit more often, and that's also the case today. We have both of them actually on the side of Kinguin, and Kinguin plays this with a full mage setup if you so want, even going into and Khaldor together with that. And on the other hand, we have a very interesting lineup for Beat Our Bakers, playing this with an Abathur here. Abathur together with also, not really a melee assassin that we were kind of hoping for, I have to admit, but with the Johanna in this case. We're having also on the same team now a Zagara and a Sylvanas. So there's a lot of pushing power, and that's a lot of potential to actually move in and try to take the opponents down. The map is Garden of Terror, so it's one of those maps where you have a lot of space, especially with Abathur, to try and soak lanes and also use the pushing ability that you have there. And we're going to find out right now which team is going to take it here. Are we going to have Kinguin advance, or is it going to be Team BoB? Let's find out together on Garden of Terror here at the ZOTAC Cup. Our semi-final at the ZOTAC Cup. We have to the left side Team Kinguin, and they're going up against Beat Our Bakers. Well, kind of the revival version of Beat Our Bakers. We're going to talk about that in a second, but let's focus on the introductions here. First, we have Nepsa on Uther, Nurok on Arthas, the Lich King is back, Get Amherd on Khaldor, Invidium on Malfurion, and Snow on Zebro. To the right side of the map, ADRD for Beat Our Baker, starting on Abathur. We have Snitch on Zagara, Thero on Johanna, Bakery on Lily, and Zarmany on Sylvanas. It's definitely an interesting composition that we're seeing here right now. I mean, as you can see in this game, we have basically like, it's kind of the revival version of Beat Our Bakers. Beat Our Bakers was actually a team like in the past. It doesn't really exist in the same setup anymore, but we have now kind of a mixed team. ADRD, of course, left Gamers 2, and he's now currently playing together with 3 of the SK Gaming players in this setup. I'm pretty curious to see especially how ADRD is going to do on Abathur. He's one of the players known for his Abathur style. We have up here a bit of a hideout place for Zarmany and Bakery, who are apparently going to try and push that lane in together with Abathur and of course Sylvanas. Abathur on level 1, going for survival instincts, and it's actually one of those things that you can do on Abathur these days, like just try and go for a bit of a push build again. A map where that, by the way, is extremely good is the new map, a Battlefield of Eternity. Abathur is amazing on that map, just because it's so huge and the objective fights take so long that Abathur can easily soak 2 lanes, one with his body, the other one with the symbiote, and all that the rest of your team has to do is make sure that they just defend a little bit, and then you will get an experienced lead for your team, and you can also later on then start pushing pretty hard. That's something, of course, that you can do on any map, but on Battlefield of Eternity it's especially good. It might be what we're going to see here. Snitch at the bot lane has to go up against Invidium in the semi-final match. It is a best of 1, so keep that in mind. Snitch is currently just like trying to set everything up, of course, with a vision here. Now that the night falls, we're having Get Amherd already trying to steal the seeds away. Get, oh, needs to be careful as Zarmany is moving in. Here comes again, unstoppable on Johanna. But there's way too much, and Johanna already taken out. So yeah, that didn't really work out the way that the Beat Our Bakers boys really thought it would here. Zarmany just a bit too aggressive. Didn't probably realize that there were this many Kinguin players in the vicinity, and the rotation that we saw happening there was just like instantly. So in this case, we're having still the Moonburn talent taken on Malfurion for the extra damage to minions and mercenaries, with a wind over barbed shot on Sylvanas. And yeah, the rest of the talents pretty much what you would expect, especially of course with Arthur's going on for block. Probably going to be Destruction on level 4. Yep, there it is. Destruction and Elune's Grace. When we are talking about Nazebo, we have him actually like played a lot these days. He's a lot more popular, and I kind of like that. We have Gary the Gargantuan back to business. Very few players are going for the Ravenous Spirit. Gary is just so much better. Gary went to university and finally got smart. He's not as dumb as he was in previous patches, where he would just like detect a fly at the other end of the map and suddenly decide that it's much better to walk over there and try to squat that instead of just like elbowing out in the team fight. So Gary is definitely a thing. Up here at the top lane, it's also a thing that Zarmany is pushing in with his Sylvanas, trying to get that damage done. An important fact here is also that we are seeing more of a focus on the Blinding Wind on Lili. Still going for Conjurer's Pursuit here on level 1, the talent which is not really as good as it was in the last patch, so a lot of players don't even try and go for it. We have, for example, Uther players trying to go for Reach instead, or for other talents. On Lili there's a few options that you have as well. You can go for the extra damage on your Blinding Wind, for example, but in general Blinding Wind is just the talent to go for. Oh, Zarmany! Oh, he's trying to dodge everything and he was nearly able to do it, but he's dying in the end. There's a pretty big rotation coming up, and with a 4 versus 1 or versus 2 situation, there's very little that he can do there. Blinding Wind got changed, now it's time-based skill, and if you take that level 4 talent, where you increase the duration by Blinding Wind, which you do, which we see in this case, taken over the additional targets, then you suddenly have a 3-second blind on every single target that you hit, which is pretty damn awesome, especially if you're up against right-click heroes, against auto-attack heroes. But at this point, it's really the game of Kinguin. They're doing very, very well here. We have him with Rune Tap now on level 7. Nazebo went for Spider Cluster and Gitbin on 4 and 7. And of course, it's all about the seeds right now. And that is where the rotations that we're seeing from Kinguin are really shining. They're getting the entire plant up at the top. They have no problems here. Very good zoning, especially from Nazebo. Snow is doing a great job with this. And down to the bot lane, this one hasn't even completely been taken out. Snitch is moving in together with Abathur, and they're going to try and take care of that. But we still have the rest of the Kinguin team starting to move in, and they will get the first plant without even having any opposition there. So they're even moving in, trying to steal a few of those out, and the root against the Gara, maybe the kill against Snitch, and it looks very good. Yes, there it is. Good job by Kinguin once again. 3 kills for them already. Invido moving in with another root, and are they gonna get that kill? God damn, Nurok overstaying his welcome, but he survives after all. It was a close call though. And look at these heroes, Snow, Nurok and Invidium, all of them so low, but they get away. And in the meantime, we have Neps on the plant just doing work. The talents on the side of Team Beat Our Bakers. We're having a double battle momentum here. Battle momentum taken on Zagara and also on Johanna, with Shake It Off being the standard talent for Lili these days. There's once again the pot trying to disable that, and a pretty good polymorph seed actually being used against Snitch, so doing some damage against the structures. Not really a big rotation that is coming out of the opponent's team, so the Beat Our Bakers conglomerate, the players here, not really trying to meet that plan just yet, but instead protecting the rest of the lanes and also keeping a heartbeat on every single lane. And that's the only reason why they're not completely behind in experience. That mule that we're seeing on Abathur can also really start to help out with situations like these. Abathur really needs to start dropping that up at the top lane, and there it is already. A mule being dropped immediately. And in the middle, there's still Bakery together with Zarmany. They're trying to make sure that Neps is not going to get too much done here, but he will have another potential attempt to take down the towers. And yep, there it is, and that should be enough to at least drop one of them. Probably not more than that, but still, that's a lot of damage. The mule is still alive though and can help out with it. And with double heal, we are actually seeing silence. Twilight Dream. Haven't seen that in a long, long time. They have a double healer set up with a Divine Shield here, so they can go for silence. That's one of the beautiful things if you go into double heal. You can actually decide to take a heroic ability that on one of the healers that you would usually not take, just because it would be overkill to use both of the healing abilities. That's one of the reasons why we sometimes with a double heal see Rhaegar going for Bloodlust. It's very, very rare, but occasionally it happens. It's pretty awesome when it does, but of course the problem with Bloodlust is just that ridiculous cooldown that you have there. Shake It Off being used by Bakery. It's a great talent if your opponent is trying to lock you down, so yeah, that helps for sure. Monstrosity, so it is going to be the Tamagotchi for Abathur. Abathur Tamagotchi is becoming extremely strong when you go for the extra talent on level 20, because then you can suddenly start to burrow anywhere on the map with a Tamagotchi, and that means that you can just, for example, just go back, heal it up, send it back to the lane. It's extremely annoying, especially if you have a full stack Tamagotchi or Monstrosity, then you just do so much damage. You have more than 5,000 hit points, and it is absolutely amazing. Right now we're seeing again the Phoenix being put to some good use, and there's already the mule, so the Phoenix is off and they might be able to save that tower. So far, ADRD on his Abathur is actually doing quite a bit of work there. Twilight Dream has not been useful yet, but keep in mind that we're also having Gary here. Gary the Gargantuan he has come a long way. Like, I'm so proud of him. It's like a little bit like these fatherly feelings that you have. You've seen him in the past, and you see him grow, and he was just like really stupid. And then when he started to learn how Heroes of the Storm really works, and he realized team fights are important, they can't just like run off in the middle of the fight. And then suddenly he became a really strong summoning tool. So yeah, I'm liking that. But I mean, once again, with the night falling, now seeds taken for both of the teams, and of course, since the first plant went immediately, and therefore most of the seeds went immediately to Kinguin, we have now a lot of those for the Beat Our Bakers players here to the right side. So with that, they will have one plant ready, and I don't think that it's going to be enough for Kinguin. Well, it's going to be close, but I don't think they have enough, or do they? Ah, just barely. Wow, alright. Well done here. So we have plant versus plant again. That's actually like the perfect situation for them. They have done an amazing job during the first night, and that was very, very well done here. So yeah, cool. That's actually like pretty sweet for them. 180 seeds per night, that's what we're having. It's 15 for the small camps, and then another 60 for those big plants that you can take down. So in total, 90 per map per side of the map. Level 13 talents are also a little bit faster for Kinguin, and in this case we're seeing Arthur's going for Relentless over a potential Spell Shield, which you could have taken on 13. There's also now the full Moonfire with an increased radius and also reduction on the mana cost, but the radius is the really important thing. I mean, now suddenly Invidium can really start to throw those out. Kel'Thas actually, wow, look at that. Kel'Thas dying. Where did he go down? At the bot lane, Sylvanas, Zarmany together with Abathur, I suppose, able to get that kill in. The 13 talents now finally also on the board on the side of Beat Our Bakers, and here's again the Bombard strain in this case. Also Mutalisk taken, Spell Shield for Johanna, the extra sustain especially against Kel'Thas, and of course Nazebo. And Lily going straight for the Shrink Ray here. Interesting to see that, actually. Having a Shrink Ray is normally something that you use against melee assassins. If you're worried about Arthur's just going a bit too deep, then you can use that as well to control him and the Frozen Tempest. That can really just like screw up your entire push, so that's going to be a problem. But now to the bot lane. Neps is already there. Bakery is trying to heal everybody out there. Bakery is like, this is perfect healing for him. Like, Lily always gives off the impression of being a little bit baked. Like, she is... Don't you really think that Lily seems like she's a bit on drugs? Oh, look, a flower! It's just like, what? In the middle of the fight, suddenly she's going flower hunting. Something is definitely not right with that girl. There we go! Straight for the root! Look at that! 5 heroes just like chasing the plant and going straight for the key, diving hard. But Snitch is forcing them back for now. The rotation from the bot lane is already underway, and they are trying to at least catch 1 or 2 of these heroes out, but I don't know if they are going to be able to make that happen. Now that we have 15 for the 2 teams here, both of them very hesitant, by the way, not really engaging into any team fight battles just yet. But let's have a quick look at especially the numbers here. Nazebo is currently at 7,000 hero damage, which is pretty respectable. Not really too much on the side of Kinguin. It's kind of funny to actually look at their hero damage and realize that they basically have nothing compared to the opponent's team, compared to Beat Our Bakers. But when it comes to actual kills, then Beat Our Bakers is in a much better position. Kinguin is in a much better position. So you can just like see that the power of those double healers. You do so much damage, but it just gets healed out. There's nothing you can do about it. There's just too much heal on your opponent's setup, and you can't drop a hero there, and therefore you're denied the experience. So that is oftentimes a problem. Nurok is now in position at the front line. That's exactly where he has to be. He has a lot of self-sustain on the side of Arthur's. I mean, with Arthur's, we oftentimes also see Syndragosa. He could, in theory, have gone for Syndragosa here instead of the Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead is another one of these talents which really starts to keep you alive during the fights, and it's extremely powerful. But if you go Syndragosa, you can use that for a setup. The problem is that there's not really a whole lot of follow-up damage in this case that you can throw in there. It makes it a bit easier for Kel'Thas to really hit that target, and also, of course, for Nazebo. Nazebo, by the way, is going to get super annoying right now. In 16, those leaping spiders, I mean, are you kidding me? They are so frustrating. If you are an Arachnophobe, for example, then you will hate that talent even more. For now, we are also having Ignite, and there's a lot of talents now in 16 that are really annoying. Uh-oh! Bakery is getting completely wrecked. Lily might be a cute panda, but in this case, there is nothing that you can do. The pain train is there, and we have Frostmourne feats Well, as long as Arthur's doesn't feed, I don't think Kinguin is going to mind too much. But yeah, having the double Frostburn is amazing, especially when you have Destruction on level 4. The damage output that you can have with the Arthurs is absolutely incredible. Locust Brood for Abathur, which means that he... already interrupting it, so yeah. He's going for that burrow move. I really like that's the sound in my head that it always makes when I see Abathur going for that move when he's trying to like burrow in lane. For now he's helping out with the monstrosity up here at the top, and I already told you that this thing is going to do work. Abathur down here, well, we have the fight actually starting right there, and that's where Abathur really needs to start and help a bit out, but it's the kill against Zagara. He did not really help at all with this one. Once again, the plant is down. Abathur already burrowing down to the bot lane and uses his Locust Brood to just push this back for now. Both of the teams are now on level 16 talents, and that means 2 for 1 over an Herbal Cleanse, and Cold Embrace has been used here. At the same time now, looking at the damage, just have a quick look at how much damage Arthur has. 8,000, that's pretty damn good, considering that Kel'Thas, even with Ignite, so far into the game has only 9,000. Of course, that gap is going to increase, like, don't get me wrong. But still, it's pretty damn good. Blessed Shield being used, apparently. We're having Beat Our Bakers trying to fight. Yeah, a bit surprised, since they are currently only with 4 players on the map. They are trying to get some seeds here, at least denying them to the opponent, because right now it looks like we're having Kinguin not with enough seeds to take one. Athero needs to go back, but gets stunned out, and once again a kill against Johanna. She can die after all, apparently. Over here, Lily is just going straight for her own moves, and Abathur, look at this guy, still up at the top lane, doing his thing, and with that we're having the Locust Brood starting to push the lane even more. Abathur is like in the middle of the lane. I mean, he knows very well that we're having the entire setup for the opponent's team down to the bot lane, getting seeds, growing it now as well. A quick beat back to make sure that he can just like burrow anywhere else on the map then afterwards. But Snitch is already on the plan and trying to put that to some good use. Now on level 16, the Lunar Shower. I don't really know, but like I feel like that name is a little bit weird. I'm always thinking about a certain color when I see that name. I'm not quite. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Not that I'm into anything like that, but it's kind of weird. Abathur is at the bot lane though, and looking at damage and also healing numbers, I mean that heal that we're seeing on the side of them is just insane. 33,000 already, 14,000 for Lily. I mean, she's only one panda, but she's trying to keep up. She's really, really trying. So we have the rotation to the bot lane. Rotations are everything right now. Trying to go with a plant on the top lane, the rest of the team moves to the bottom. That is like a standard rotation in the late game, just like trying to make something happen there. The most important thing is that the plant is just posing that constant threat. So you don't YOLO in and just like try to like crush everything with a plant. You are patient, you drop the pots, you try to do a bit of damage, and that's already about it. As long as you pose a threat to your opponent's structures, the rest of your team has an opportunity to really start doing some work at the bot lane. Important for Abathur to take down the walls, just so that he can be sure that everything... And again, up to the top. I'm really liking that. It's that funny sound in my head. But yeah, this is exactly what you need to do. Trying to play these Abathur games. And if you look at the minimap, the important thing really in this case is that Abathur forces the lanes back. All of the lanes are pushing against Kinguin, and they are on level 20 now. So they got a lot of experience thanks to Abathur. We can actually have a look at that. And Abathur is currently at 16,000 experience, which is actually pretty cool. But just in general, like the impression that you get on the map, that's thanks to the Abathur talents that he has. He can't really help out as much in those team fights, so that's a disadvantage that he has. But he can really keep those lanes pushed back, and that allows you access to the mercenary camps. It allows you access also to the objectives once that they're up again. So right now, over here we're having, well, another attempt to go straight into the mid lane, and with the plan still ready, Nepsa is now getting a lot of damage in using not only the polymorph seed. Nice blink here from Snitch, making sure that he's not going to get polymorph. Abathur is maybe having a chance to move up to one of those top lanes again. 20 for both of the teams, but Kinguin is starting to move in here for a kill. In total, they have 6 kills against 1 right now. Abathur went for the Locust Nest, but he has to be far out on the map to really use that properly. The problem is that they are going to lose this keep now. The Mule is doing whatever it can, but I'm not quite sure if we'll be able to heal that out. It actually doesn't really look like it, especially not with a Flame Strike and also a Phoenix being dropped here. So, yep, well done by Kinguin. They get that kill in. Gary is just like standing there, God knows why. Maybe he has like an inner monologue or something going on. Should I really go for it? I don't know, like, I don't know what Gary is thinking, but he just, like, went straight into his death without even hitting one, so maybe he's not as smart as I thought after all. Abathur, on the other hand, he went up to the top, and he has once again a nest and a monstrosity there, so he's at least gonna go through that wall. That's the problem that Kinguin is facing right now. They are going up against an opponent which has a specialist that really focuses on pressure play a lot. And Abathur needs to move back from here, but they might be able to get pressure against the keep in. The thing is that with the objectives now on the map and the seats everywhere, you are forcing heroes to just move for the defense up to the top, and that allows the rest of the team to move in and take those seats. And that is actually extremely important, because right now there's a lot of space that you create, you know? So the keep is already at half HP, and finally the monstrosity is dead, but at the same time, the team was just able to move towards the seats and take all of those, and that's really important. So Beat Our Baker is in a great position here, able to get a lot of them. The problem for them is they were not able to get enough. So right now they need to do something, and they will run up against another plan, and that could mean keep number 2 falling. So while I still like how exactly this is currently working out for them, they are in a bit of a tricky position. They use the time that they have to move up to the top and utilize Sylvanas' Black Arrow trait to drop that keep immediately, and that is actually like very, very cool. So with this, they have now not only a bit more experience than their opponents, but at least they were able to like create a lane that is pushing strongly against opponents, but they have to still make sure that they do a bit more than that. 81 seats is going to be great for the next night, but as I already said, with the plan just growing for Kinguin, Kinguin is an amazing spot to drop keep number 2. So both of the teams lost one keep yet. Looking at the numbers here, if you look at Abathur, he's currently at 166,000 siege damage compared to the 113 that we're seeing for Zagara and also the 120 for Sylvanas. With the Zagara and Sylvanas in the composition, of course, if you can create a rotation where you move in against structures, whereas your opponent is busy somewhere else on the map, for example, defending against an Abathur push or defending against, let's say, a plant, then you can do a lot of damage thanks to Black Arrow and all those Zagara push abilities, like especially of course the roaches coming in, the banelings and all of that. So that is extremely strong, but you have to create that situation first, and right now they have to play defensive. There is still the monstrosity at the bot lane, up at the front soaking up a lot of the damage, and we have Abathur in a really good spot pushing this one back as well. But it looks like Kinguin is even looking to finish the game. They are starting to really look for core here, and they might be able to get that, but it's pretty tricky actually to finish a game against an Abathur. And keep in mind there's a mule, so if they're not able to finish the game right now, it's going to be healed full out. There's once again Gary straight in the match. We have Nepsa nearly down on the plant. They're getting a lot of the damage in. More is already used. The mule still healing that out, and Nepsa is down out of the plant, and they are starting to lose heroes. But so is the opponent's team. So is Beat Our Bakers. Lily is dead, and it looks like it's just not going to be enough to save this one. Nope, Kinguin, they take the game. GG, and therefore Kinguin advances to the finals of the ZOTAC Cup. Congratulations, and well played.
And Kinguin once again victorious. Really well done by them here today. So a pretty cool setup that they had. They were able to run with it. And especially Arthur is of course not disappointing here. Always at the front line, staying alive, making sure that he didn't die here with the Army of the Dead. Having that lockdown available as well. The Zebo from the back line providing the damage. And the Abathur composition just not really getting that momentum that they were hoping for. Abathur of course also trying to provide some pushing power here. But it just was not enough to really take down Kinguin here. So once again, the German team showcasing their strength and a very good performance here by them. So congratulations to them for taking this map, and they advance in the ZOTAC Cup to the final, where they are going to meet Gamers 2, which we will have in our next video here on KhaldorTV. I hope that you enjoyed the semi-final. If you did, you know the drill. Write a comment in the comment section if you have any questions or anything you want to say about the game, and of course give the video a thumbs up on YouTube. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in today, and see you soon with more content in KhaldorTV.